So today we have a pretty interesting story to talk about regarding TSM. Obviously, TSM is a team that no matter what's going on, there's always going to be stuff to talk about for them. There's always going to be people saying a lot of good stuff, saying a lot of bad stuff. Pretty delusional opinions and takes on both sides, in my opinion. You know, at the end of the day, TSM just is a very, very polarizing team, and this offseason has been no exception for that. You know, people were kind of flaming TSM for taking so long and making their decisions. People have been flaming them for missing out on so many big-name players that were potentially linked to the team. You know, people were flaming them for ultimately the roster they came up with, and then there's some people that are just very, very excited. But again, today, the story, or not even necessarily a story that's coming out yet, but the potential story coming out that I want to talk about is regarding the lock-in tournament, something I've touched on in videos a little bit already. But TSM might be going at the lock-in tournament a little different than some other teams, and I think I kind of like what they're doing, actually, which is pretty cool and pretty exciting as a TSM and LCS fan. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. We just passed 9,900 subscribers yesterday. I think we're at like 9,908 or 9,909. That's awesome. We're trying to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. So click that button real quick. That'd be absolutely amazing. With that being said, let's get right into this. So we know that a lot of teams are boot camping. A lot of players are boot camping in like Korea or doing all these other things. It's kind of a weird time because obviously offseason just got finished and certain teams have players from all over the world. You know, we have Europeans, we have Koreans, we have Chinese players, we have, you know, people from like Central America, South America, you know, Taiwan, all over the place, and getting them either to the United States, especially during the holidays. You know, we have Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, we have all this different stuff going on, and people want to break. You know, it is the off season, so this is when people kind of reset at the end of the day as well, but it's trying to find that balance between preparing for the 2022 season and also resetting mentally, resetting physically, getting ready for the grinds of what is a very, very long competitive League of Legends season, not only in terms of, you know, length, it's like 9-10 months or whatever if you end up making it to Worlds and doing well, but also just the day in and day out. You know, we're talking 12, 13, 14, 15-hour days, 6 days a week a lot of times, sometimes even 7, and it's an absolute grind. So, you know, it's really, really finding that tough balance. And so, yeah, a lot of different teams have been doing all kinds of stuff. You know, Bjergsen went on a solo boot camp to Korea. We know Cloud9 is in Korea right now, those players. And TSM has talked about doing a Korean boot camp, but they're not actually there yet. And that's what kind of got some people wondering, you know, what the heck is going on. So there was this post from the TSM subreddit that, okay, I forgot to set this up 1 second. There was this post from the TSM subreddit where they said, so when does the LOL's team Korean bootcamp start? Chowie mentioned that they will post more video content when that starts. What, has anyone mentioned a date? And that's going to be cool. You know, once we actually get to start seeing video content coming out from TSM, you know, TSM is usually one of the better teams in overall in esports, not just in the LCS, in terms of video content and making content overall that's engaging and their fans interact with. It helps build not only the team's brand, but the fans' interaction with them, but also the players' personal brands. And I think that is a very, very big thing coming into this season where TSM has some new faces that people are a little bit skeptical about. People don't know how well they're going to fit in the United States, in the LCS, in with TSM. And actually getting these guys on camera, getting to learn what they're like, getting to learn their personalities in and out of game is going to be really, really cool. And I think that'll go a long way for TSM. So them starting to get some of this stuff out is going to be very, very important. But, yeah, TSM's not actually in Korea yet. So what's interesting here is that Parth has said, and I saw this in one of the interviews and stuff, that Parth has said that players have the option to spend Christmas with their families, so it's probably going to start after that. Right now, I think they're saying Huni and Tactical are the people in Korea. Obviously, Huni is Korean, and I guess Tactical, you know, decided to go over. I know that Tactical and Shenny were actually duoing in Korean solo queue, which is really, really cool to see. Start building up, you know, that synergy and everything right off the bat. But then this guy says that their Korean boot camp is actually going to start on December 27th. And they said that, I guess, K's mentioned this on stream or something. So, you know, we're still like 9-10 days away from them even heading out to Korea. And, you know, a team like Cloud9, they've already been there for like a week or so. And they're going to, you know, go back and get back in time for lock-in or whatever. But the big story here, the point of this is all getting to the buildup of this thing here. Parth and Spica stream AMA. You know, apparently they did a video together. I saw some of the stuff. Some of the stuff interesting coming out from there. You know, some highlights. Spica reads every single Reddit thread. That's funny, you know, not necessarily surprising, but I'm sure that's how he gets a lot of memes and everything. But I'm sure you wouldn't want to see all that. This is a big thing. They said that they're confident the two LDL players won't leave after a year and have some longevity. And I think that's good to hear. You know, I don't know how they could possibly know that for sure. But But I do think that's a good thing because that's definitely a big risk when you're importing players. Like, yeah, are they even going to stick around? Are they going to be in this for the long haul? They did say that the Faker 40 million thing was fake. They never talked to Cryan, never talked to Fofo, never talked to Chovy. Would have been nice to get DoNB, Knight, Fofo, etc., but don't think them coming to NA would happen. They kind of alluded to importing Reckless AD Carry if Bjergsen had stayed. Kind of interesting. But the big thing here says that the team might stay in Korea and let the academy team play lock-in because they all want to come back at the same time. Now that is very, very interesting, and something we didn't see last year. I know that one of the teams I think went like with their academy lineup. I want to say, I don't know if it was CLG or Immortals or something like that, but none of like the top teams. We didn't get too much mixing up from them, and that was one idea of having a preseason tournament in the first place, was letting you experiment with different rosters, letting you experiment with different things like that. And actually getting to try out some new players and take some risks and everything. So TSM potentially staying over in Korea is really, really interesting. And I don't know how people are going to feel about that. Because, like, on one hand, we all really, really want to see this new TSM lineup. We want to see, Kaido, and we want to see Shenny, and we want to see how this TSM team plays together. And it'd be cool to, see them playing best of fives and see them playing through a group stage and see how they progress over the course of the tournament and all that. But on the other hand, it would be really cool for, instead of them being in Korea from December 27th and then lock-in starting the 14th, so they would be in Korea for maybe like 2 weeks, and yeah, maybe you can get something out of being in Korea for 2 weeks. But the other option, if they stayed until lock-in was over, which ends on, the 30th, that they would be able to stay in Korea for like a whole month. They'd be able to get more time. They'd be able to develop more. And then also, that academy team, a lot of young developing players, and TSM saying they're all about developing players now and trying to build up their own talent, and that they think that's better, more sustainable, whatever. That, academy team would get to play against LCS teams, and they would get a bunch of practice. They would get a bunch of scrims and everything. The one thing is, it's not like stage games for anybody because there's no crowd. There's no, maybe I'm assuming they're going to be on stage in the LCS studio, but it's kind of the same, kind of not. I don't know. I always feel like the crowd adds an extra element to it and everything, but I still think it would be cool. Now, overall, would TSM do worse with their academy team? Would they not do as well? Would they not get to play as many games? Yeah, whatever. But a big thing coming out of the whole thing, if that academy team could play in lock-in and get anything out of it, they could level up, get better, practice against some other teams, practice against the best in the LCS. Not only would it make them better, but it would also then help them develop to be a better scrim partner for TSM throughout the season, which in turn would be really, really cool. If you can level up your academy team, not only do you have better players in your academy team that might develop into future LCS players or whatever, but it gives you better practice throughout the season, which can really, really help you because at the end of the day, scrimming other teams is good, but you want to hide some drafts, you want to hide some picks, and just those players are always going to be right there for you. That's going to be your easiest access, and I think that could be maybe a hidden thing to the whole thing. So we don't know exactly if TSM is going to do this yet. They haven't announced it. They haven't said anything like that. But it sounds like TSM has made a decision, and to me, I do expect the TSM Academy team to at least be playing some amount of the lock-in tournament just with how the dates line up. If they're not going out to Korea until December 27th and lock-in starts on January 14th, again, I don't think you're making the trip all the way out there for like 2 weeks. If you have the option to stay a month or like 5 weeks or something, to me that would make a little bit more sense, and I think TSM would be able to get a lot more out of their Korean boot camp, and then still the LCS lock-in, yeah, it would be cool, but it's just a preseason tournament at the end of the day. It's not that big of a deal. I think some fans will be disappointed, but I think TSM's main team could really level up a lot over in Korea, and it could help them out, in terms of synergy and really getting to play a lot of high-level games and get to play together and, grow all that synergy and everything. Now, obviously, COVID throws a giant wrench into all this. I don't know how easy or hard travel is going to be back and forth. I don't know how far in advance things need to be planned. I don't really know, but just understand that there is a potential chance that we could not see that TSM starting lineup at the lock-in tournament. I don't know when that's going to be announced, hopefully soon, whether we are or are not, but either way, I think it's kind of interesting, and I kind of think it would be a good decision by TSM at the end of the day. But that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Do you think TSM's main lineup should or should not play in the lock-in tournament? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one, but until then, peace!